Thank you, Asfa, for the explanation of what is the gamification and the difference between the game-based learning. Now, we will proceed to the relevance of the gamification in the science learning and also in the science education. First of all, we will look into what are the critical issues that we have to deal with. As you can observe before this, even before the COVID-19 struck us, there was a challenging time in understanding the science subject. Am I right? And I do believe almost all students all around the world face the difficulties in understanding the science education, and also myself have the difficulties in understanding every subject of science. And not just that, there was also some of us might face the rejection and also the dropout rates. And this dropout rate has been increasing without having any solution yet to improvise how to help the students understand better in science learning. Next, the critical issues that may arise among the teachers is the lacking and the flaws of skills in teaching science subject, such as there are some teachers who have lack of interest and pedagogy of the science education. And not just that, there are some teachers have a minimal knowledge of the science subject, or maybe they are just option for a particular science subject. When this lacking happen in our education, especially for our teachers, there will be a scenario where this energy or this lacking may shift it to the students when student doesn't have their interest in learning science subject. If this problem doesn't have any way to overcome it, it will become worsen, especially when we in COVID-19 situation, students will have more difficulties in learning science subject. So, based on the issues that I have stated just now, do you think that this gamification is actually should be implied and included in our science education? And do you think this is relevant in this time being or maybe in our future? Here, I present to you the statistic of the distribution of the video games in the United States, updated 2021. As you can analyze here, there are teenagers and adults that age group within below 18 and below 34 years old have the dominant and be a domain that influence and also familiar with the video game, right? So, based on the statistic that I showed just now, why do you think, or maybe do you have any ideas why this gamification is actually relevant in our science education? And as I mentioned earlier, students nowadays have a broadened exposure of the internet especially, and also the exposure towards any games, since there is no boundary for them to access the games. Next, we can see there are also the increasing tendency and the influence of the students toward the games. And I do believe that most of us already attached to the games before this, am I right? Now, you can see, right, how this gamification be relevant in students right now and also for our future education. And another biggest why the gamification should be implied and included in our education system, especially in science education, it is because this gamification aids to help to attract the student to have and boost their interest in learning science. Not just only that, it also helps the student in improving students' engagement and help them building up their confidence towards the science subject. Now, we can conclude that by creating and implying the gamify in the science learning, it will provide an additional information on learning progress of the students and the requirement in non-invasive way. Gamification is actually help us to gather the data in real time and also giving them feedback and provide extra details in visualizing compared to the traditional method. And moreover, it also offered a holistic depiction to the students' skills and knowledge compared to the standardized assessment. Furthermore, the gamification is relevant for this time being in science education because the implementation is associated with the social skills that is interactive and constructive learning environment. The students who have a better engagement in gamified learning have more receptive and willing to have the similar learning in the future. The features and the element in the gamification is actually widely been using in gamified learning. As for the example is the leaderboard, badges, reward, and this element is not only engage the student actively, and it also boosts the student confidence in competition, in compete in healthy way. And last but not least, it also improving the commitment, joyfulness, and the motivation among the students, where the gamification can provide a safe learning environment and a real-life environment for the students to experience without having any fear, such as fear of accidents, the danger that might happen in the laboratory, and the other. So by having this gamification, students may experience themselves virtually. And not just that, it also helps to provide the student with cues, hints, and also the solution to keep them progressing, and the student will be encouraged to be more creative and try any new tricks and also practice this learning physically in order to reduce their fear of failure in the science subject. I hope that my explanation will open your mind and think whether this gamification is actually relevant for our science education, not just only in this time being, and it also may help us as a future teacher in our future. I think that's all from me. I will pass this stage to the next presenter, which is Zarul. Thank you.